person.
What exactly informed this business decision?
I studied mass communication in university. I'm still studying media and communication post-grad. I've studied filmmaking, photojournalism. So basically my whole background is in communication. And I did go to work. I did different jobs from marketing to customer service to working in an insurance firm to human resources. So when I decided I would leave my job was after I had married and I had 2 kids. And the stress of having that 8 to 5, 6 p.m. was a little bit too much for me. I needed more time. I felt I needed more time for my kids. So that's when I started thinking about how I could still have a career without having to stick to those hours. And photography was already a hobby for me then. Every weekend I would do a lot of pictures, and it took a lot of my time. So one day I actually got paid for it and I thought about it, okay, this is something I could do, and this is what it's become since then.
Aisha Augie-Kuta is a mixed media artist who is taking the art of photography to great lengths. And with her works spanning across documentaries, fashion, as well as aerial photography, she encourages young creative minds to rise to the occasion.
Photography is actually quite new in Nigeria. The appreciation of it is very new. Yes, it's something that has been happening over the years, but right now we have a lot of wedding photographers, but only a few of the family photographers are coming up now. There's so much more you could do. There's food, there's animal, there's child photography, there's art. There's so many other ways of making money, which the country hasn't even opened up to yet. So I feel like the market is vast. There's more than enough people that can pay for different services. And we just have to, like I said, be innovative. Most of the people who want to start photography in Nigeria are looking at weddings or fashion, you know. But the truth is, we have weddings almost every weekend in Nigeria, in almost every state. So there's a huge market for it. And people are only just understanding how important it is to capture those days. And when it comes to the magazines and the different social media platforms, photography is only becoming a thing. It's only being paid for now. So I would suggest people look into the different genres of photography and pick what works for them. I could decide as a woman, if I can't leave my home, for example, to do product photography. People can bring it to my house and I take the pictures and send it to them. So I don't actually have to leave my house. There's editing. You know, we need a lot of editors. There are a lot of photographers who make great images, but they still need editors to, you know, give it that boost that it needs. So I think it's a market that's growing and the future is bright.
Single-handedly, she started her business in 2008, and since then, the resilient entrepreneur has managed to successfully grow her brand to incorporate other branches using her background in communication to explore societal issues.
We actually have a group, it's called Myanmar Group, and we have Paradigm Initiative, there's Pixel and Paper, and one more, we have the foundation, the Center for Art and Creative Talent. Under Paradigm, it's more of the internet, social media, online platforms. With Pixel and Paper, it's mostly the printed products, advertising, and then with me, obviously, it's me as a brand shooting different things, be it weddings or as art or anything like that. The Myanmar Group is actually a group of individuals. We've come together and we have different aspects that everyone is handling. So what we do is basically we come together as individuals who are experts in these different fields, and we help clients with their brand. The Center for Art and Creative Talent is a foundation for the creative artists. We're starting mostly in the north and in Abuja, but the main reason for this is because finding support is very hard, and we struggled as artists to find the people that can support our craft. And a lot of times artists are broke because you're focusing so much on creating your work that it suffers. You can't make that much money at the time. It may be after that, a couple of years later, that you get some of your things out there. And we also realized that the artist connects to the community in one way or the other. As the photographer, you can come up with stories that people within the community had never even seen, So we have the social photography aspect of things. We have the skill acquisition aspects. For some people, they are amazing artists, but they can't make a dime of money because they don't have any business skills. So we also train artists on how to also use what they have to become a business. We're creating a value chain, between the artists and the community. So, which if you support our artists, you're automatically supporting these women.
Being a female in a business, otherwise perceived as the exclusive preserve of the male folk, she is one of those taking advantage of her gender, even as she elucidates the intricacies of starting up a business.
In the beginning, there were not too many female photographers, so that got me free publicity, should I say, in the beginning. And being a northerner also helps with that. But the main thing is that whatever happens, whether it's word of mouth, the people, they still keep coming. And for me, I see myself as an artist first. And it's not just about creating, just capturing an image. It's about how do you compose it? How do you use the light to make it perfect? How do you push people to look at a story, even if it seems very normal, I did a lot of research, I did a lot of thinking. Anyone who wants to start a business, they have to do research. That's the most important thing. You can't just decide, okay, I have a passion for this, this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't work that way. If you know you're going into a business, which is why a business plan is important. I never had one for years, but I had understood what it was, what having a business plan was, and I basically had it all in my head. It wasn't written on paper, which I ended up doing in the end. If you have a dream, look for those who will push and make you want to do more with that dream than those who would discourage you from it.
A lot of young people, see funding as a limitation to actually starting up a business. What was your experience in the beginning?
I knew I would want to do this someday. So with the little money I would make, I would buy a camera here, lens there, one equipment or the other. There were little pieces sometimes. Like every month I would save a little bit of my money to make sure that it goes into that, which was an investment for me. I could have said, oh, I'm thinking it's so much money, I can't start this. But because of the research I had done, knowing the kind of business that it would entail, knowing that it needed a lot of investment, I didn't wait to get money from anybody. I decided, okay, I have a mission of where I want to be, and I started working towards it. I think for anyone who wants to start up a business, there's a lot they have to look at. What is it you are going to give? Why are you different? Who are the people that are already doing what you're doing? If they are, how are you going to be better for it? There's so many questions you have to ask yourself if you want to decide to do a business. And Nigeria is so vast. There's so many places and so many new things to do. We're in the era of social media. There's so much going on right now that I feel whatever business is going to be, it has to be new, it has to be fresh. If it's going to be old, how are you going to be innovative about it? So research, like I said, a lot of research, a lot of asking questions, those who have been there before you. Even if you don't have access to them, there are ways that you can research what they are doing.
In a business that has only recently begun to gain appreciation in Nigeria, Aisha talks about some of the other drawbacks confronting the art of photography.
It's very capital intensive. You have to calculate if you should spend a large amount of money on a camera kit or rent. The amount of capital you need for the kind of business that we run is a lot, you know. You could decide to be a street photographer and have no business with the office, but for us, we have an office space. So paying for that alone, having Nigerians not really appreciate the kind of work that we put out there. So basically we're being underpaid for the kind of work that we put out. But it's growing, you know, we're loving the support from certain people. The second thing would be the lack of electricity. It kills us every day, you know, but that's also something that has gotten us to be creative, you know. We can shoot with or without electricity. We'll create light one way or the other. And the thing about business in Nigeria as an entrepreneur is you don't expect constant cash or constant payment for things. A lot of people would pay us maybe a year after, sometimes, depending on the kind of relationship we have. So because of that, we have been forced to create different payment terms. And that doesn't really work for so many, so we lose a lot of jobs because of that. So you have to be willing to wait and also be able to trust that people would still pay you in the end.
Not one to shy away from challenges, this multi-talented artist opines that everyone can and should consider entrepreneurship, emphasizing useful attributes to adopt.
Being able to network is an extremely great skill to have, because as an entrepreneur, you may not have enough money to do advertising all over the place. You may not have enough contacts to put things out there. But what happens is if you network a lot, you go to business classes, even just going to classes to learn is enough for you to find the next person that will help support your business. So I think people skills, learning to understand how people think, using the people around you to push the little things that you have. You look out onto others as usual, change, innovation. But the main thing is patience. That's the honest truth. Most of the people I know, they don't wake up one day and they've become successful in a business. If you sit down and read people's biographies, if you look at the top business people around the world, they've been through so much in their lives and they could have given up. So the main thing is to be patient and never give up. If you have a plan and you know the possibility is there for it to be strong, and you've done enough research to understand that all it takes is that big break, be patient and you'll get there. There's always something around you, from the guy who's selling pure water to the person who's running a massive rice company, you know. There's always something the world needs. And with the way things are today, getting a job is really hard if you have millions of people fighting for 1,000 jobs. It's a very hard situation. So in Nigeria, what I've realized is we have created accidental entrepreneurs all over the place. It's a whether they liked it or not situation. You had to, based on maybe suffering or sometimes just not being able to wear a suit to go to work every day. You know, we're very innovative people, and even around the world, that's what's happening. If you notice now, entrepreneurship is rising. You know, we have a lot of mentorship programs that are helping people to push their little businesses. You know, for me, success, even if it's just you in one corner on that street that is selling to make a living, you're successful already. Because anyone who wants something on that street would come to you. That already in itself is a business. And the small, medium scale industries are growing by the day. And what happens is they now become the ones who are hiring people and creating jobs.
Right, so it's been 7 years. What have you learned along these years that has helped, you know, ensure business growth?
The most important thing I learned from business is not to focus on the problems. Always think of a solution as something comes up. Just yesterday, we had a shoot planned, and everywhere there was no electricity, no generator, nothing was working, and we had to improvise. I wasn't thinking, oh my God, let's cancel this, because it's not going to happen. I have to travel tomorrow, I have things to do, you know, and this person is leaving the country, and this shoot has to happen. and we had to improvise. So I think a lot of times we focus too much on those problems and we think of, oh my God, you have to have something big at all times. My mantra is think big, start small. I've focused on that from the first day I heard it, and it keeps me going. Day to day, I don't think of the big things, you know. Every time I think of the equipment, I think, okay, what's the smallest way I would still be able to achieve that shot if this equipment failed? Another thing is also having to think every day of the newest way to sell yourself. Whether you like it or not, people are coming behind you. And a lot of times they come and they learn from you and they take it away and you learn from them. So I keep my mind open to everybody who's coming into the industry. You learn a lot from them. So always, always keep your mind open to learning. I always learn from the people I mentor. You know, it reminds me why I started. It gives me that extra inspiration that I need to also push while also giving back. And it helps to push the industry to grow it in a bigger way.
Aisha, who is an award-winning photographer on several fronts, has today become an inspiration to many young entrepreneurial minds.
I've always wanted to do my own thing. You know, sometimes you just have so many things in your head you want to do, and then having a regular 9-to-5 sometimes stifles you from doing all that. Like right now, in Nigeria, we all know the economy is not exactly as it used to be. It may get worse. People will get laid off. I mean, people are already getting laid off, and more people will get laid off. And some of these people really do not have any other thing to fall back to, which is why being enterprising could be very useful. I mean, even while you do your 9-to-5, if you can marry both of them together. And if you're diligent and smart enough, you could actually grow that small business into something really, really big. So that creative aspect of her is something that it's quite inspiring. She's very witty. She's witty. She's fun. But when it's time to work, yeah, everybody has to pitch in and get the job done. And then she likes humanity, helping people and all that, which I also like, which is also one of the things that drew both of us together to start working together also in the first place.
I got in touch with Aisha through a mentorship program. And from there, when I realized the dream she had and she realized what I wanted to do, she was like, okay, there's actually a space for you in my company. This is what I want to do. This is this. And basically, you should be able to handle it. And she's nice, very ambitious, but then again, she's an achiever. To be honest, I see her as a role model because first of all, she's female, I am female. It was nice having someone to relate to. She's very easy to talk to, but also she's a go-getter, which is something that everybody is looking for. I actually believe in everybody having a skill. Your skill doesn't have to raise you income, capital, or money, but you should have a skill. Anything could happen. I served in 2009. This is 2015. I have a lot of mates who have not had one job since then. So I know how hard it is for them. You should have a skill. If you have the chance to acquire a skill, acquire it. No knowledge is ever lost.
And she admits that she has equally been inspired by notable personalities, some of whom are pioneers in the photography industry.
The number one person that made me think of being a photographer was Uncle Sumi Smart's Cole. I think I saw a black and white image she shot when I was around 8 years old, and I just couldn't get my eyes off it. I even begged the aunt to give it to me, but it was, even at that time, it was precious to her. But I couldn't imagine how he used the light to create that particular image, and that's really what got me into thinking about making pictures. So over the years, I've seen a lot of people, like especially in my family, be it my mom, whose career has been in the legal industry. I have Miss Betty Irabo. Years ago, I happened to be in a meeting with her, and she said to me, my sister was laughing at me at the time because I said I wanted to take pictures of Michael Jackson and Mandela. And my sister found it very amusing, like, who the hell do you think you are? And the first thing she said to me was, you have to get rid of the dream abortionists in your life. And it took me aback because I didn't think of a dream like a pregnancy, but she was like, it's a pregnancy. And if you have people around you that tell you you cannot have it, they're aborting your dream. Of course, we have all the other photographers that have been here before us, from the T.Y. Bellos to the Kelechis to, well, those who had their names before a lot of us, should I say. And seeing them do what they do makes you want to do more too.
Inspired by humanity and influenced by her experiences as a female with mixed race, Aisha is indeed a fast-rising entrepreneur, positioning to rule the world of business in the near future.
I want to be a media mogul. I want to own the largest production house possible. That is hopefully in the next 10, 15 years. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I have a plan. And we're getting there gradually. There's so much I think we could do in Nigeria. And the main thing is that using communication and photography to reach the goals of so many, you know, is our plan. It's a huge business environment in Nigeria, but like I said, because of the type of work that we do, it's just only beginning to get appreciated. I think the main thing about the environment is it gets you thinking. You have to always be on your feet, you have to always be fast. There's always something new coming up, like I said. With photography now, it's so easy, you know. People have cameras that do all the work for them. So now you have to actually be constantly change, constantly be innovative, constantly be creative. I think it's a very fast-paced environment, and the growth is beyond what we can imagine, you know, and the world has seen it too. That's why a lot of investors are coming down into Nigeria. I think it's really great. Even those who live abroad are moving back now because it's like the Nigerian dream.
Finally, what would be your advice to aspiring entrepreneurs?
My advice for aspiring entrepreneurs would be that they should dream big, you know, and they should think of the best way to start it. You know, they need to look at everybody around them and see how they can hone what they have and expand it, you know. The main thing would be that look into the business, create your business plan, do your research, and think of the best way to start. It could be in your car, it could be from your room, it could be at an aunt's place or an uncle's place or your dad's office, anywhere. Like, think of the best way that you could start, but just start. The idea is to start. You will fail as many times as possible, but just keep going, you know, keep going. There's always one day things will fall in place.